Hi, this is Lucas with YOGABODY and the Yoga Teachers College. Today I'm going to walk you through side angle and twisted or reverse side angle pose. These poses show up in almost every vinyasa, flow, power yoga class. And they're one of the foundational poses, and one of my pet peeves about them is they're often taught with cheats and modifications that don't actually help you make progress. So you'll find students who've been practicing these poses for many, many years, and they're not really finding the full expression of the pose. Not because they're not capable, but simply because they didn't set it up properly. So hopefully today's tips will give you a setup progression so you get deep into this pose. And again, even though it's a simple pose, it's not easy. It's a challenging one. We start off with a very big step. It's bigger than you would think. It's usually about 1.5 meters. Depends on your body. Very big step. We're going to point the front foot, in this case it's the right foot, and bend the front knee down to 90 degrees. What we're really looking for is the knee over the ankle and a 90-degree angle here. When you look around your average class, you'll almost never find a 90-degree angle. Almost everybody bends their knee less because it's easier. When you're here, this takes a lot of work. You'll find your leg starts to tremble right away. The next step is we work with what we call arches, meaning way up high on the tips of our fingers. So you take the arches of your right finger and you put those fingertips right next to your foot. We have our arm and our leg in one line, and we're pressing down very hard into the fingertips. The next step is we take our top arm, in this case our left arm, and we reach up, we reach over, and we stretch in a long diagonal line. We call it side angle pose because we're looking from an angle all the way from the back foot all the way through the top fingertips. My knee presses into my arm presses into my knee, and I'm rolling my body open towards the sky and gently looking up towards my fingertips. You don't need to crank on your neck, but gently looking up towards your fingertips. In terms of the alignment here, just like in a lot of our standing asymmetrical poses, our back leg has inner rotation, our front leg has outer rotation, so that knee is even pressing into the arm. We inner rotate the back leg, and then we open up our heart and our pelvis open towards the sky. You'll find beginning students will tend to dump down into the knee, meaning they'll bend too deeply, or they'll dump down into their back leg by not bending at all, or they'll drop down onto the palm of their hand and just dump all of their energy. All of these are really common mistakes. We want to find firm fingertips with just arches. We want to find a strong connection between our knee and our arm. We want to keep that back leg straight and strong. And last but not least, keep that top arm lengthening. You'll find students will do kind of a wet noodle thing here. You'll find students will do kind of a triangle pose thing here. We want to focus on the side angle, and you should feel a long pull all the way from your back foot through your top fingertips. Let's switch sides. Inhale, come all the way back up to stand. Switch sides, so your back foot turns in at 45, front toes point straight ahead, and again we bend our knee down to a 90-degree angle. As a teacher, this adjustment is very helpful. You take one finger, two fingers, and you push them behind your student's knee to get them deeper. We use just arches, so that means the fingertips, we put it right next to the foot, press your knee into your arm and your arm into your knee. From here we reach up and over and stretch. Now, an advanced variation is to put your hand flat on the floor and use arches and domes, which is a concept that we teach perfectly fine. In most of our classes, we just teach arches. The reason is because almost all students can do it, and it keeps them away from that tendency to dump. Nothing wrong with putting your hand flat on the floor, but as a good place to start, and even if you've been practicing for a long time, to find that energy, just arches is really, really helpful. Knee presses into arm, arm presses into knee. As a teacher, one of the biggest things I can do to help is put my foot in line with my student's foot, use my thumb right on the student's sacrum, and I can help to roll that student open towards the sky. I could also potentially use my arm in this way and pull the student open to the sky as well. Inhale, come all the way back up to stand. Let's try reverse side angle. From here, we point our right toes straight ahead, and we bend the knee very, 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 very deeply and pause here. Everyone wants to rush into this pose, and this pose is the one that students use the most cheats and the most variations in. I'd encourage you to be really strict about the setup. It's a very, very deep twist, but you'll progress quickly. I'd like you to start by placing your hand right on your knee. Bring your left arm up into the air. A couple of things to note here. My back foot is down. You'll see beginning students want to come up on their toes. That's a different pose. This is fine, but this is a crescent lunge pose. For side angle, we want to have the foot down. If you put the foot down later, it clicks your hip in a really uncomfortable, unhealthy way for your hip. So we want to start with the foot down. You'll also find a lot of people want to bend their knee and put it down on the ground. This, again, her hip just clicked, is a funny thing to get to transition from. It's a cheat to get you into the pose, but to get from here back up after you've twisted is very, very uncomfortable and not so healthy for your hip joint. So just start where you want to go, and we'll work step by step. The next step is we're going to inhale, stretch up as high as we can, and as she exhales, she's going to twist and push her knee to the side, bring her shoulder or her elbow outside the knee, hands to a prayer, turn and twist and look up towards the sky. As a teacher, always I'm going to start with the floor and I'm going to move up, because all of our poses, all of our problems, they don't start up here, they start down here. This is the foundation. And I move up. I'm looking for that 90-degree bend in her knee, which is perfect. I'm going to make sure her elbows are away from her body. They'll often be squished up here. And last but not least, I'm going to encourage her to look up towards the sky. Perfect. We're looking for a long diagonal line of energy. Now there's an advanced variation, which I'm sure you've seen before, which is where the student puts one hand down on the ground and reaches one arm up and over. This is an extremely deep pose. It looks simple, but probably only 5% of your students can do it. So we'll often give this as a private adjustment for a student, but for our public classes, we do side angle with our hands in prayer. Great. Inhale, come all the way back up to stand. Let's try the other side. Bend your left knee down to a 90-degree angle. You really want to take your time with the setup of this pose. Whether you've been practicing for 1 year or 20 years, this is an extremely deep twist. And if you do this pose properly, your rotation, your twisting ability will grow very, very quickly. But you got to focus on the setup. So my left hand is on the knee, my right arm is reaching up. I'm extending before I do anything. As I exhale, lengthen forward, push the knee to the side, bring your elbow or your shoulder outside the knee. Take your time, hands to a prayer. Again, long line of energy all the way from the back foot, all the way through the crown of your head. As a yoga teacher, I want to encourage them, inner rotation with that back leg, outer rotation with that front leg. That screws your legs down to the ground. We've got yang energy and yin energy. It's hard to feel that yin energy in your upper body, but that's what we're looking for. Chin is gently lifting away from your chest. Last step, eyes look up towards the ceiling. It's a reverse side angle pose. Really great. Inhale, come all the way back up. And release your hands and take a break. So that is side angle and reverse side angle foundational poses. But if you focus on getting that alignment, getting that setup right, it can be a really, really great pose to set you up for lots of other practices. Hope that's helpful. We'll see you in future tutorials.